Hello and welcome to Perspective. 15th August, I'd like to wish India a happy Independence Day. Unfortunate what happened on the submarine yesterday. There were a lot of tweets talking about it, and there were obviously Indians feeling very sad about it. But the accidents which should not happen, and the events which should not happen. Mr. Rajdeep Sardesai, who's the editor-in-chief of IBN 18 Network, tweeted yesterday morning saying, separated at birth, India and Pakistan celebrating Independence Day by passing resolutions condemning each other. This is obviously making a sarcastic comment on why two brothers who were separated at birth spending Independence Day at each other's throats. My question, which I would like to raise today, is, sure, why are we doing this? But then, who starts these confusions? We actually, I think there's a cycle maybe about 3 months, tops 4 months, where the media on both sides sits and has this discussion. That who did it, why it happened, how it should not happen, whose fault it is. There are two questions I'd like to raise today. One, why is India so obsessed with annihilating Pakistan? I think it's time, after all these years, that comes to terms with the fact that Pakistan has happened. It is here. Whatever happened 66 years ago is irrelevant. We're here. And we're a small country, no doubt. We've got issues. And I just heard a sentence which I would attribute to one of my guests. We're a weaker state, but not a weak state. So there's no end to this argument and these skirmishes and these line of control activities, I would say. So why do it? Why are we killing each other? And secondly, where's the end to this? How long can we do this? Why do we do this? Both topics I'd like to raise today. I'd like to start with my guest on my right, dear friend, Mr. Zafar Hilaly, a regular, may I say, gladiator on Indian on Indian media. Zafar, thank you. You hold that fort very well. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. On my left, another dear friend, ADM retired, for the job. Thank you very much for being here. Senior journalist, a friend, Mr. Aamir there. Also, thank you very much. On telephone, we have retired Riyaz Muhyiddin Saab. Riyaz Saab, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you can hear me.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah.
I am not loud and clear. I am not with you loud and clear.
Okay, we'll increase the volume just now. Zafar, I'd like to start with you. Why do we keep doing this? It's not a means to an end. It's not going anywhere. When will we stop? And who is really getting advantage from these arguments?
Hello, I'd like to start by saying that as a young foreign service officer,
could you fix the volume for Mr. Muhyiddin, please?
Yes, volume, please.
I
have not been your friend.
All right.
I have not been able to hear. Anyway, I'll try to do my best.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, as a young foreign service officer, I remember in 1973, I happened to be with my father, who was also in the Foreign Office, and at that time, Additional Secretary, later Foreign Minister, and a minister of the then government of Mr. Zafar. And we were together. And I happened to be looking after the India desk in the Foreign Office. And we didn't have diplomatic relations with India. So my job was to read up all the papers that India had. By the way, today it has 830,000 newspapers. And of course, my job was to read infinite, minuscule fraction of that and put up a summary for the Foreign Secretary or for the Foreign Minister about what was happening in India. And after reading all through that, and we were undergoing the process of normalization of relations after the 71 war, I asked these three gentlemen, I said, look, we've tried confrontation, we've tried conflict, and we seem to be getting nowhere. I was wondering, why don't you start thinking of cooperation? And there was a sort of stunned silence. And then my father broke that uncomfortable stunned silence by saying, run along and get us some more ice. So as I was running along to get some more ice for these three distinguished gentlemen, I heard one of them say, talking like an undergraduate. The point that I want to make is as follows, that at that time, at that young age, I also thought that perhaps we should, try another line, another tack. Unfortunately, many, many years later, 40 years later, I've come to the conclusion that there is in both countries a group of people. I wouldn't like to name them the establishment because the establishment keeps changing, and the individuals in the establishment keep changing, who are incapable. They are, I call them the irreconcilable. They are just incapable of, I think, thinking about each other in any other term but in the most hostile way. And consequently, for instance, today in India, and I refer you to a very good book which has been written recently by a Nobel laureate, Aamir, who's a professor at Harvard, and another gentleman who's a European but who's taken up Indian citizenship, therefore very partial to India. He too, they have collaborated and written a book in which is made very clear that the North Indian Muslim, South Bloc, which is the Foreign Office, Foreign Office hawks, the Bal Thackeray types, Hindu Mahasabha, RSS, in other words, the BJP in so many words. These people are inveterate Muslim, hence /Pakistan haters. There is almost nothing that we can do, nothing that we can say that will reconcile them to the fact that we are an independent country and deserve their respect. So, perhaps on our side too, there are some people like that, more of the bearded variety. But there are people in the establishment too, who perhaps through experience more than anything else have come to the conclusion that we and India can never get there. So these two forces are the driving forces. Unfortunately, they are front-running the process of normalization and until these can be reined back by a good political leadership, I think that we may have greater problems than we do at the moment.
Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. Abid, a lot of times I have an obsession of watching 11 o'clock Indian television to see what noise is coming out of there. And at times the evidence presented on those arguments is atrociously amateur. And this is absolutely not right. And I've heard you arguing that this evidence is just not right. What's this entertainment value that their media gets out? And Aamir also comment on it, being a journalist. Is this entertainment value? We all understand that this entertainment starts because obviously the powers to be behind them tell them it's time to do this about a week. What's the purpose? I mean, does that side want continued irritation on both sides? You don't want rest? What's the problem?
If you see Indian history, India was never as united as it stands today. So today they need an enemy. So it is a compulsion to keep Pakistan projected as a very dangerous enemy who can overrun Delhi. It may never materialize, but I have read a lot of their articles, I have heard a lot of their prominent speakers, and this threat that Pakistan, particularly since it became nuclear, while on one side it has created a parity with them in that regime, while in conventional weapons we are way behind because there's no way you can compete with India on its size, on the quality of weapons, the investment they can make in defense. So that is one thing. Second thing is, historically I will say, without any bias or prejudice, Hindus are best subservient and slaves and most terrible masters. History has always proven that. For last, say, 900 years, they were ruled by Muslims, either the Afghans or these Circulation Republican Mughals. And then came the British, and they behaved like very good slaves. Now when they got independence, now when they got power, and the differential against Muslims is much larger and growing every day in their favor, they would like to take a revenge, they would like to exploit that. And for Indian Army, for Indian Foreign Office, it is said that they don't go to sleep without abusing Pakistan, at least once in the night. So now, and we also followed this kind of a regime till about 1990. After that, we gradually dropped. Then these political parties came back to power. First Benazir Bhutto, Shahid Motarma, second time Nawaz Sharif, and then again alternating the rule. We found They didn't talk of hating India in the election.
We finally moved on.
We have moved on.
They have.
And even in these recent elections, we debated even before elections that hate India is not a slogan, even with Jamaat Islami.
Even their board.
Even they have rejected it. That
but
it's not worth it. Now, India would like to keep their superiority. Third thing is, India believes that Chanakya philosophy that your neighboring country is your enemy, so make friends with his neighbor. Yeah. So they have been very successful in keeping Afghanistan on their side. They've invested a lot in Iran. China, by design, is their own enemy, so they couldn't do that. Fourth, none of their smaller, in fact, all the neighbors except China are small in all ratios. Dissatisfied with them. They are bullying them. In political science, the word hegemony is best explained by Indian attitude towards power. Hindus are not expansionists. They don't expand. Over the last 5,000 years, they haven't gone beyond the border. But they are hegemonistic.
Never, ever have.
No, never.
Is this entertainment that comes out of journalism on that side? Because our journalism is kind of calm. Even when there's opportunity to retaliate. Now, I can be specific if you like. The recent incident of the Mumbai attack, where they were stated, and a lot of talk. The public was like, why is our media not retaliating or using that news to our advantage? Have we moved on? Have we matured? Or we have another reason not to take advantage of these situations where their side is clearly having it's like a ball day.
Faisal, historically, I mean, if you see that historically we see that Indian media is far more humoristic and more sensational compared to Pakistan. And just forget about the recent incidents of Sarbajit Singh or these recent tensions. I mean, I have been observing it since early 90s, at least since I started my journalism career. And what we have seen is that Indian media speaks more or less with one voice when it comes to national issues, their national issues. And on all the, I would say, key issues, they support the establishment point of view, which is unlike Pakistan. In Pakistan, you will see different voices. There's not that kind of a consensus which Indians have. We have voices of dissent very powerful. They can be very critical on policies starting from Kashmir to military and things like that. So our media is much more vibrant, much more free, and we are more self-critical than the Indians. And as two of my senior colleagues have rightly mentioned that right now it suits them. You create an enemy in politics. It's quite sort of a normal thing. The problem with Indians is, I mean, the recent flare-up, I would say, because in the run-up to elections, this kind of tensions, it suits both the parties, the BJP and also the Congress. And right now, none of them will be seen getting soft on Pakistan. It doesn't suit in the cow belt. I mean, until the election, the hurly-burly of election is over in India. So we are going to see a very stiff stance from all the major stakeholders in Indian politics, including the media. It's not going to change. And on the part of Pakistan, if you start, I mean, there's a lot of keenness on side of Pakistan that let's start the peace process. Now, actually, it is considered a dove. He has been indicating, sending positive signals, as our colleagues have rightly mentioned, that all the major political parties, there's a consensus in Pakistan to improve relations with India. And they are, from Jamaat Islami to Imran Khan and Nawaz Sharif and People's Party, you talk to any of the major political parties, there will be a consensus and they are speaking with one voice on this issue. So the trouble starts the way Indians react to certain provocations. And unfortunately, they are beyond our control. I mean, it is so easy right now that any small cell of terrorists, they can destabilize relations between India and Pakistan. And Indians need to understand that when Pakistan is unable to control this lawlessness and terrorism on its own territory, how can we guarantee that there won't be any terrorist activity going on in it?
Okay, the things you mentioned, people would say, oh, so our media is not vibrant or not free, they're not patriotic. But from what you're saying right now, I kind of agree with you. We have to be mature about it. How long can we just keep doing that? So how would you comment on that? Are we doing the right thing by not taking advantage of the weaknesses and creating the hoo-ha about it? One. Secondly, everyone said election. But it's not just election time. They keep doing this. It's like a cycle. It's like, for choice of a better word, it's like a monthly cycle. They have to get in this grand session.
I mean, coming to that monthly cycle, why? I mean, there's a perception in India. We have visited India a couple of times in recent years, and the perception which I have got over there is that they think that Pakistan is in trouble. Pakistan is on a slippery slope, and our economy is in a mess. We are faced with loads of internal contradictions.
And they just walk right in.
And they think that Indian economy is booming. I mean, they are being welcomed. They are giving a soft image. The soft power is, accepted in the world. So is they're building up their military powers at the best. So they don't think there's no compulsion on them to go soft in Pakistan right now. They think that, I mean, right now, why they should give concessions to Pakistan. And this is not the good time to talk to us. Because they see in the longer run that Pakistan is going to get much more weaker. So if they are presuming that, and on the other side, many of the Pakistani, I would say peaceniks, they are showing desperation to improve ties with India. So I would say that on part of Pakistan, there should be some restraint. We should not, react in the same way that the way they are doing, in a dualistic manner or in an irrational manner. But at the same time, we should try to put our house in order first, to fix our economy, resolve the contradiction of terrorism, and then perhaps we can, when we will be in a stronger position, we'll be able to negotiate good peace with them.
Okay, Mr. Muhyiddin, can you hear me? Yasaf, can you hear me? We've lost connection there. Slippery slope, and I like both of you to comment from the military perspective, from a foreign relations perspective. Are we in a slippery slope, one, and can they just walk right in?
I think what Aamir said, that they have never seen weaker today. They have never seen a Pakistan more convulsed in its own problems. And they don't really see why they should help us to get out of this predicament. It's a short-sighted view, because quite frankly, if we were not troubled by the Indian dimension, I think there is a lot that we could do more to steel ourselves against what is a major terrorist threat to Pakistan. They're not keen. I mean, they're not particularly bothered about that.
If I may check, when you say they're not keen on helping us, they don't need to help us, but this entertainment that they keep providing us. On Twitter, I was talking about this particular show. I'm not at liberty of taking a name, but your favorite show, or the show where you're the favorite guest. I was saying, what is this? And a lot of Indians saying, please don't say anything to him. He's the only entertainment we have. So it is entertainment value. So, it's not just that they need to help us, but they need to be more. What is it doing?
You see, if they help us, they help themselves. This is a long way of seeing it. I mean, if terrorism is defeated in Pakistan, then you have a normal state next door with which you can resolve your problems and go ahead. But if terrorism takes over Pakistan, how does it help them? So are they helping us to cope with terrorism? And the answer is no. Is this deliberate? I think it is. I really do believe it is.
They take advantage of the situation.
They want to take advantage of the situation. It's the historical animosity which still preys on their mind, which comes out. I mean, please, I would ask you, I'd put to you a simple question. You happen to be in a squad of Indian soldiers who have come across, after the 2008 earthquake, a house which has fallen down on a family. Most of the family are dead, but you hear a weak voice from the family saying, help, help. You go and try to remove, they're in your part of Kashmir, so you go and start removing the stone and whatever it is, the wood and the stone that goes to make up houses. And then suddenly you see the man who's been crying, help, help. And he happens to be a man who is a man with a beard. And there and then, the chap shouts out in Hindi, this chap has a beard, this chap is a mullah, shoot him. So rather than fishing him out of the rubble, they shoot him dead. Now, I want to know what kind of a mindset has those soldiers developed vis-a-vis their own people because they are Muslims. Can an army which has such a mindset
act
sensibly? And can two peoples whose armies have one particular army having such a mindset, can we ever have peace with them? the question keeps, you keep asking the question. Our elders decided there can be no peace with them. Our elders decided these are the eternal enemies. Perhaps they had good reason to. They went through partition. They saw the killings, the raw emotions that motivated people to do such dastardly acts. We, who haven't gone through that partition, who can look at things with a little more objectively, etc., think that there is hope. But sometimes when you see incidents like that, then I think that you start wondering whether, in fact, they were not right.
Okay. I need to take a short break. Mr. Muhyiddin, can you hear me right now?
I can hear you,
okay.
but I can't hear
let me just take a short break. We'll sort this problem out.
Other people I can't hear because
Sir, I'm going to take a short break. We'll fix this problem just now.
Right,
and
right.
What you said about it, this generation, and it's a lost cause, but we don't really care. We know that we will probably never fight. That if we never escape, but my question has become a bit redundant. Let's take a short break. We'll continue just a moment. Thank you for staying with us. You're watching Perspectives. Riyaz, can you hear me now? Riyaz, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Now, the question which I had asked you earlier, but you can hear me, is that what was said here is that India feels Pakistan is on a slippery slope. Mr. Zafar has said that they have no interest in helping us come out of our internal problems, and they see advantage in creating or letting there be bigger problems within us because that maybe opens the door of opportunity for them. My question to you, sir, are we on a slippery slope, one? B, militarily, do you think they will ever have the opportunity to walk in on us, even though in the previous confrontations they haven't been very successful? Do you think they can achieve that target?
Okay, let me tell you, through my experience and my long service in the army, and I'm not going to exaggerate about the superiority of that of the Indians, but I can very candidly tell you that we committed so many follies, like in 71 and all that, in generalships and all that. But I just remind you, the commander-in-chief of the Indian Army in 71. Somebody asked him, BBC asked him that you have defeated the Pakistan Army. He said, he told the Indians that if you think that the Pakistan Army has been defeated, you are sadly mistaken. Because General Niazi, who had surrendered, despite that, the young officers kept on fighting after the ceasefire. Now, coming on to the present situation, I am absolutely sure in my mind that Pakistan Army today, Army doesn't mean Army itself. The entire masses of Pakistan, the nation of Pakistan and the army put together, if they are on one page, I can assure you the Indians will not do all these things which are they doing it now. Now, it is we must understand that it is a strategical matter, geopolitical matter, because if you know that around Afghanistan, the bordering area is of that of Pakistan, Iran, China, and 2 or 3 CS countries and all that. They are all rich in the hydrocarbon. The withdrawal of the Americans is expected in end of by 2014.
Right.
Now these are the normal tactics, geopolitical tactics which the Indians are playing on Pakistan. I am sure about this one, that we are capable of fighting in both the fronts. Okay? I mean, we are a nuclear-armed nation. We have got the potentials of nuclear weapons and all that. Let them cross into West Pakistan. Tell them, if you have got any guts and all that, try to cross with this thing. I am at this age, I am prepared to join the army. If they call me today, I am prepared to go and fight along with my army and all that. No, this is all a leadership problem. This is a problem of the nation. You must unite, first of all. You put your own house in order. And I can assure you that these threats and all that of the Indians, you see the Indian history and all that. When Quaid-e-Azam on 13th of August and all that, Lord Mountbatten came into Karachi and all that, there was a plan of assassination by the RSS. The Indians killed their Mahatma Gandhi in 48 because he was saying the government of India at that time, 1/3 of the equipment or tanks and guns must be given to Pakistan, and 1/3 of the money which was lying in
I'll come back to this in just 1 second. Zafar,
okay, right.
Is there, fine, you said this is not a solvable problem. Going forward, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif came in and there was hope there would be negotiation, there'd be visits and we'd move forward. That's obviously sort of in abeyance right now, given the jingoism or the whatever you want to call that activity. Will we see in the near or medium future that option which you said about negotiation, discussion, or even we don't have to fall in love with each other? Can we at least get out of each other's face?
Yes. Well, I think that what you need is the kind of action that Nixon did. Nixon was an arch anti-communist. There is nobody who abused communism more than Nixon. And yet Nixon was the man who paved the way for a restoration of normal relations between China. Whoever is the leader in Pakistan, he must take on a significant number of people who genuinely believe that no relationship with India is possible. He must take them on, he must surmount them, and he must take the risk. And the same for India. Unfortunately, we've never had leaders who feel it worthwhile to face the electoral consequences of of a move towards India. It has to be a risky and a generous gesture.
But maybe on both sides.
On both sides. No, I'm saying Pakistan and India.
Yeah.
Unless you have a man who is going to take that risk, I'm afraid you're not going to get anywhere. And Nehru was close to it, near his death. He had released Sheikh Abdullah. He had decided, as Liaquat had told him, he said to him, Mr. Nehru, you and I were neighbors in Delhi. Our children or whatever played with each other. And if you and I, as good neighbors in Delhi, can't settle this issue, how can you imagine people who don't know each other, who have all sorts of reservations about the other, will be able to do that? And I thought he was turning that corner when unfortunately he died. So you have to take this risk. Is there a leader who's willing to take this risk? Musharraf, for example. He gave away a lot of what Pakistan had long maintained that they would never give away. But he took the risk. He was prepared to give it away. But you saw on the other side, there was nobody there willing to accept a similar risk and open the borders.
And that stands today as well.
And that's being withdrawn now. I mean, that kind of attitude of Musharraf was condemned by all political parties, by the way. And that sort of deal on the table, I don't think will. Mr. Khurshid Qasuri thinks that that's where negotiations should take off from. But I don't think either party, any party in Pakistan is willing to do that.
Talk about children, the next generation, people to them. I want to ask you, not from a bureaucratic or a foreign relations perspective, not a geopolitical perspective, not a military perspective. Do you think, and we say, oh, we're the same people, we are like, do you really think that at maybe the next generation, maybe people like us, are we also really at peace with each other or not?
I mean, there's a dichotomy. I mean, the younger generation of Pakistanis, even the older, they enjoy Indian movies, they love Indian music, but still, whatever soft image they portray in Pakistan, the thing is, until and unless you resolve the political issues, with the relations, and there's always be a fear of escalation of tension. There's a point of view in Pakistan and also in India that once you enhance your trade relations, you start trading with each other, you expand your economic ties, it will emerge as the best guarantee of peace. But we should remember that even before 1965 war, there was a lot of trade going on between India and Pakistan. It never prevented us from going to a war. So again, even if we, build our trade relations, we might, enjoy the movies and things like that. But until and unless you resolve the core issues are, of course, we have to resolve either way Kashmir. We have to, a couple of years ago, people used to say that the low-hanging fruit should be resolved first. They used to talk about Siachen, they used to talk about Sir Creek. But even there we have found that while there is a lot of flexibility on Pakistani side, the Indian position has hardened, and especially the military position has hardened. And it has made much more difficult for the political parties to give any concession.
Because go on to Abid.
Because the electoral risk, right?
Before you go to Abid, very quick intervention.
Sure.
The kind of risk for peace that I'm talking about, which leaders would need to take, is the kind of thing that Reagan did at Reykjavik with Gorbachev. That's the Cold War. Every side had 2,000 nuclear weapons. God knows how many nuclear weapons targeting each other.
Sure.
And they thought that mutual assured destruction would prevent everything happening. And Reagan turned around to Gorbachev and said, you know what? Let's do away with nuclear weapons altogether. Will you accept that? And Gorbachev was flummoxed. Reagan's advisors were flummoxed. That was not a talking point. That was certainly not in his brief. And Reagan and Gorbachev didn't know what to say. And he hummed and hawed and said, well, I have to go. He said, this is the deal. Let's do away with nuclear weapons, both yours and ours. Now, that took some leadership.
No doubt.
Now,
and that changed history.
And that changed history, perhaps. I want to know what kind of is there anybody remotely on the horizon in Pakistan and India who could take such a step, such a bold step? I don't think so. Sorry, Abid.
Okay, what I was, with permission, what I was referring to was that I have a lot of Indian friends. When I went to university, there were a lot of Indians I was friends with. Even today, I meet Indians all over the world and they're friends. On the internet, I made great friends. But the moment the 11 o'clock starts in India, and it has nothing to do with the statements their leaders are making. It has nothing to do with the BJP statement. It has to do with just their media. And I go like, you know what? I don't like you. And my blood just starts boiling. And that whole friendship suddenly at 12:30 on Twitter becomes you can feel the coal. You can slice a knife through it. They get tense and we get tense. So what I'm talking about is even at that level, individual, this whole jingoism just keeps breaking that bond.
Why? Let's ask this question. Why? The thing is that until you resolve those issues which we have been talking about.
No, but it's not about issues. It's about just, how dare you look at me like that?
But
we get all protected.
From where does it start? It starts from unresolved issues.
Okay.
So, I see it in a historical perspective. The other thing is that, yes, if Pakistan is, ready to give concessions and our leadership has, shown that kind of flexibility, on Indian side, I don't expect this thing to happen. Why? The reason is that Pakistan only has regional ambitions. India has global. And, the kind of ambition they have. And they are buying, big ships and things like that. So, in their frame of thing, and that kind of vision they have since the days of Nehru, that they want to become a global power. They want to become, big players. They want to explore seas. They want to, their navy, they want to see their navy reach up to Australia. So, if they have this kind of vision, so even if we talk that let's, partners get rid of nuclear weapons, they won't be able to do that. The thing is that all this problem, the nuclear race, it has been started by Indians, not by Pakistan. The Kashmir issue is started by Indians, not by Pakistan. So, historically, if you see, we have only reacted to certain situations. And that's
fair.
You see, in human conflict, the most important thing is who started it. As you very rightly put it, the reaction of the second party can be stronger than required. You can blame him that, I just said this and you have slapped me back. But why should such a thing be initiated? That's number one. Second question, I ask all my Pakistani friends who talk about Kashmir, why should India solve this problem? Because in any negotiation that you want to have, you must have word otherwise. That you let's settle this, otherwise this will happen. We don't have any otherwise for Kashmir. We have tried 3 wars, we couldn't get it. At the diplomatic front, there are problems.
That matter.
No, they have what they want.
Sure, but they want this one as well.
What,
so neither side has come out a winner.
But they have been, tacitly conveying that, the present state is acceptable to them. We said it is not. LOC is not acceptable.
Okay, fine.
Similarly, Siachen. Now, if you take the invasion of Siachen in summer '84, it is exactly on the same lines as we tried to do Kargil. They succeeded, we did. The line of control is demarcated up to one point, beyond which a general mention is made that, north, we interpret northeast, they interpret north. So all the good positions they came and occupied. We wanted to occupy Kargil, let's say, but, we couldn't stay there. Now, India, and then the second question was that why is it every second, third month there is some unpleasant thing? You see this group, if the trade is to develop, if the person-to-person contact starts, even that is failed by the Indians. They have sent your artists back, they have sent your players back. This Firozshah Kotla ground was dug up, the pitch was dug up by these Shiv Sena, goons, while Pakistani team was there. Pakistani team or Pakistani players cannot play in Wankhede Stadium, Bombay.
Not giving a place for them to stay.
So, just because, you see, people equate Hafiz Saeed with this guy, Bal Thackeray. Bal Thackeray was a terrorist. He was a butcher of Muslims and other communities. Hafiz Saeed is not. It is just that he has a stance which the Indians are very allergic to. But Bal Thackeray was open. And even today, in statement, even a person like Sachin Tendulkar, when he made a statement that I play for India, he was asked to apologize that no, you are a Maharashtrian. You play for Maharashtra, not bloody India. That comes first. He was a biased man to that limit. So, now coming back to Indians, why should India solve Kashmir with you? Why should they? Unless they have an equal threat or equal pressure on somebody. 71 war, after that, they had a similar agreement signed. I think the only weakness left in that was that Kashmir from international issue was reduced to a regional issue. That two of us will talk and resolve it. Third is, India does not believe in any meaningful dialogue with Pakistan. They keep saying that the composite dialogue, the meaningful dialogue, they don't mean it. They would like to stall it. And such like incident, you take this year, January there is an incident on LOC, beheading of an Indian soldier as declared by them, and then the media going, wild on Pakistan. I personally think it was a story fabricated. They gave no evidence. They closed the box and cremated the man. Even the family was not shown the show. So I don't think there is because Indians are very capable in fabricating fake stories, fake.
Some of the footage
fake. Their religion is based on mythology. What is Ramayana? What is Mahabharata? So if your faith is on these, fabricated stories and imaginary characters, so Pakistan is again one of those Ravans for them.
Fine. So there's a lot of storytelling.
There's a lot of storytelling. Similarly, on Sarbjit Singh, one week they had this program. I was on Indian channel almost every day explaining that, very unfortunate, but these incidents are not uncommon. So they took the revenge and then they went quiet. They killed one of our prisoners. I don't think he had charge of, terrorism. Now see what these soldiers also. Now I have started to believe these guys may have died. I'm sorry those two guys lost their lives, but elsewhere, and they were brought and dropped next to the LOC, claiming that Pakistanis have done it.
Just a quick comment and your closing comments as well.
Well, I think this particular thing.
Let me do the question. Do you think the frequency of that cycle from 3 months is now coming to a month? It's happening a little too frequently. Is it just entertainment, just election, or there's a larger end game which India is trying to achieve?
I think there's a group of people in India who are very influential, and it includes the media and the Indian army, who believe that if India has to do anything to Pakistan, it should do it now, because Pakistan has never been weaker. And that if you don't take advantage of that now, like there used to be a lobby in Pakistan at the time of the India-China war, when the Indians were attacking and the Chinese were attacking and the Indians were running with their tails between the legs, and they reached Calcutta. When anything was possible, the Chinese could have gone anywhere. There was a body of opinion here which felt this is the time for us to move into Kashmir. I think we didn't, and I think the same thing is happening now in India. I think they think
we're sitting down.
They think No, they don't think we're sitting ducks, but they think that they have to call this shot.
So they're raising the ante.
They're raising the ante.
By design.
And they are building up the people. Now, for instance, building up opinion.
That's what the media is doing, writing it
up. The
up.
whole thing about the media now is, you see, Pakistan is inveterately devoted to this kind of terrorism. You can't cure them, and we can't endure them anymore. So let's do.
So they're rallying up support.
That's right.
Has our media failed in this rallying up support? Has that onslaught from Indian media weakened our resolve?
I don't think so. I mean, the thing is that Pakistani media has behaved in a more rational manner. And we have gone for both intelligent and enlightened debate compared to the Indians. So, I mean, we should not be self-critical about the role of Pakistani media. And of course, there's a section of Pakistani media which is very hawkish on Indian side. But the overwhelming, the color of Pakistani media is balanced and fair. And we should celebrate that rather than condemn it.
The retaliation coming from our media is calming our emotions
down,
whereas on their side, the emotions are as Zafar pointed out. Which is the wiser side?
Ours is the wiser side.
Okay.
We have gotten rid of India phobia in 1990.
Well put.
We are not at all either scared of them, skeptical of anything. We have acted independent. Our political leadership, you see, another big change that we have is our political leadership is very young. They still have Vajpayee sitting there, who remembers 1947 when he was 40 years old. Manmohan Singh touching 90. Same as Jaswant Singh, L.K. Advani. They can't get rid of that. Your last question was that, what are we transferring to our generation when they will ask? Let there be newer generation. If it is not Rahul Gandhi or Sonia Gandhi's son, maybe somebody else comes and will improve from that side. Or in one of their own authors, M.J. Akbar, in his book Tinderbox, he says some major disaster has to take place between India and Pakistan before they regain sanity.
God forbid.
God forbid.
On that note, God forbid.
But I will also add one thing. India will not go to war with Pakistan. They're just raising this kind of a thing, and then they're very good in backtracking. I'm telling you with authority.
Thank you all for taking time out. Parting note, once again, Happy Independence Day to India. Let's be calm, let's be reasonable, let's be sensible. This won't really settle this way. So we're kind of used to it. It's time we got used to this way. Until next time.